Popliteal fossa. Popliteal fossa, it is a diamond-shaped depression behind the knee, and this depression is apparent when there will be flexion of leg. Now, for the dissection of popliteal fossa, we have put an incision at the junction of upper 2/3 and lower 1/3 of the leg, and a lower incision transversely across upper 1/4 at the junction of upper 1/4 and lower 3/4 of the leg, and a midline incision joining the transverse incision above and another transverse incision below. And after reflecting the skin, here we will find this superficial fascia, and also after reflecting the superficial fascia, we will be able to see the boundaries of the popliteal fossa. Here the superficial fascia, it is pierced by small saphenous vein and also posterior femoral cutaneous nerve before it becomes cutaneous. Now coming to, after reflecting the superficial fascia, now coming to the boundaries of the popliteal fossa. Popliteal fossa, it is bounded superomedially by semitendinosus and semimembranosus, and it is bounded superolaterally by tendon of biceps femoris. And this popliteal fossa, it is bounded infерomedially by medial head of gastrocnemius and inferolaterally by plantaris and lateral head of gastrocnemius. And this popliteal fossa, it consists of a floor and a roof. The roof is formed by thick popliteal fascia which connects the fascia lata of thigh and fascia cruris of leg. And the roof is pierced by the small saphenous vein and posterior femoral cutaneous nerve. Next, the floor. Floor is formed by the popliteal surface of the femur and oblique popliteal ligament and posterior surface of upper part of tibia. And this oblique popliteal ligament, it will be pierced by middle genicular vessels and middle genicular nerve. This is middle genicular vessel, and the oblique popliteal ligament, it is also pierced by genicular branch of posterior division of obturator nerve. Now coming to the contents of the popliteal fossa. The contents of popliteal fossa are popliteal artery, popliteal vein, tibial nerve, common peroneal nerve, posterior femoral cutaneous nerve in the upper part before it becomes cutaneous, genicular branch of posterior division of obturator nerve, and then popliteal lymph nodes and fat, and also termination of the small saphenous vein. Now coming to detail of principal contents of the popliteal fossa. The first is popliteal artery. It extends obliquely downwards and laterally from the fifth osteoaponeurotic opening of the adductor magnus. This is the popliteal artery. It is extending from the fifth osteoaponeurotic opening of the adductor magnus to the, it is traveling downwards and laterally, and then at the lower border of the popliteus, it divides into anterior and posterior tibial arteries. And the length of this popliteal artery is 20 centimeters long. The popliteal vein, it accompanies the artery, but it undergoes less oblique course In that it will be posterolateral to the popliteal artery in the upper part of the fossa, and in the middle of the fossa it will be behind the artery, and in the lower part of the fossa it will be medial to the artery. And the tibial nerve, it passes vertically along the midline in the upper part of the fossa, and in the lower part of the fossa it crosses from lateral to the it crosses the popliteal vessels, and it reaches to the medial side of the popliteal vessels. And in the middle of the fossa, this tibial nerve is separated from the deeply placed popliteal artery by the popliteal vein, which is placed in between them. Relations of the popliteal artery. In the deep surface, the popliteal artery is related to the popliteal surface of the femur, separated by a layer of the fat, and then oblique popliteal ligament and fascia covering the popliteal muscle, which is deeply placed. And in the superficial surface, in the proximal part, it is overlapped by the semimembranosus, and in the middle part it is crossed from lateral to medial side by the popliteal vein and tibial nerve. And in the lower part of the fossa, it is overlapped by both the heads of the gastrocnemius muscle and plantaris. Laterally, in the proximal part, it is related with the biceps femoris, tibial nerve, popliteal vein, and lateral femoral condyles. And in the distal part, it is related to the plantaris and lateral head of gastrocnemius. This is the lateral head of gastrocnemius, and after reflecting it, here we can see on its medial side we have plantaris. Medially, it is related to the semimembranosus and medial femoral condyle. And in the distal part, medially, it is related with the popliteal vein, and tibial nerve. This is the tibial nerve, popliteal vein, and medial head of gastrocnemius. The popliteal artery, it may terminate at the upper border of the popliteus muscle, and in such case the anterior tibial artery, it passes in front of the popliteus muscle. And in other cases, and in some other cases, the artery may terminate at the lower border of the popliteus, and it may divide into anterior tibial and peroneal arteries, or it may trifurcate into anterior tibial, posterior tibial, and peroneal arteries. So as we have already discussed, this is the popliteal artery, which is terminating into anterior tibial and posterior tibial arteries at the lower border of the popliteus. Here we can see the popliteus after reflecting both the gastrocnemius and separating them. Here this is the popliteus muscle, and at the low, sometimes it may get terminated, popliteal artery may get terminated at the upper border, and then in that case this anterior tibial artery, it passes in front of the popliteus muscle. Now coming to the branches of this popliteal artery. The branches are again cutaneous, muscular, and articular. Cutaneous branch, it gives a cutaneous branch which pierces the roof of the popliteal fossa and accompanies the small saphenous vein to supply the back of the to give cutaneous supply to the back of the leg. And muscular branches, this popliteal artery, it supplies the surrounding muscles, both the heads of the gastrocnemius, plantaris, and all the muscles in this region. And these both heads of gastrocnemius, they get a single trunk from the popliteal artery, which divides in Y-shaped manner to supply the both the heads of the gastrocnemius. Here we can see these are the muscular branches supplying the, and this is also a muscular branch supplying the muscles surrounding the popliteal fossa. Now coming to the articular branches. There are 5 articular branches. They are superomedial and superolateral, infromedial and infralateral, and middle genicular arteries. So these superomedial and superolateral genicular arteries, here we can see the superomedial genicular artery. This is the superomedial genicular artery, and here this is the superolateral genicular artery. Both this superomedial and superolateral genicular arteries, they encircle round the femoral condyles. Now coming to the infromedial and infralateral genicular arteries. Here so to now we will see the infralateral. This is the infralateral genicular artery, and this is the infromedial genicular artery. These two arteries, they encircle round the tibial condyles. Now coming to the middle genicular arteries, here we have middle genicular arteries, and this pierces the oblique popliteal ligament. Once again to revise, this is the superomedial genicular artery, this is the infromedial genicular artery, and here infralateral genicular artery, and here superolateral genicular artery, and this is the middle genicular artery, which is piercing the oblique popliteal ligament. Now coming to genicular anastomosis. Superomedial genicular artery, it encircles the medial tibial condyle. Here this is the superomedial genicular artery. This arches upward and medially across the medial head of gastrocnemius and and it passes deep to the tendon of the adductor magnus and anastomosis with the descending genicular branch of the femoral artery, and also with the infromedial genicular artery. Now superolateral genicular artery, it passes upwards and laterally across the lateral head of gastrocnemius, and it crosses the lateral supracondylar line, and then it passes beneath the tendon of the biceps femoris and anastomosis with the descending branch of lateral circumflex femoral artery, and also with the inferior lateral genicular artery. Here we can see this is the superomedial genicular artery. It is passing behind the underneath the tendon of the adductor magnus, and then it turns around the medial condyle of the femur, and then it anastomoses with the descending genicular branch of the femoral artery. And here this is the superolateral genicular artery. It also passes underneath the tendon of the biceps femoris and crosses the lateral supracondylar line and turns forward around the lateral condyle of the femur to anastomose with the lateral descending branch of the lateral circumflex femoral artery. Infromedial genicular artery. This is the infromedial genicular artery. It passes along the upper border of the popliteus deep to the medial head of gastrocnemius, and it curves forward below the medial tibial condyle and deep to the tibial collateral ligament, and it anastomoses with the superomedial genicular artery and also with the saphenous artery, which is a branch of descending genicular artery. Now coming to infrolateral genicular artery. This is the infrolateral genicular artery. It passes deep to the lateral head of gastrocnemius across the tendon of popliteus and turns forward around the lateral tibial condyle above the head of fibula and underneath the fibular collateral ligament. This is the fibular collateral ligament, and then it anastomoses with the superolateral genicular artery and also with the anterior and posterior recurrent branches of the anterior tibial artery and circumflex fibular artery, which is the branch of posterior tibial artery. Here we can see this is the infromedial genicular artery and this is the infrolateral genicular artery. Another content of the popliteal fossa is tibial nerve. Tibial nerve, it is a larger terminal branch of the sciatic nerve which conveys the fibers from ventral branches of ventral rami of L4, L5, S1, S2 and S3. And this tibial nerve passes along the midline on the back of the thigh vertically downward along the midline of the popliteal fossa, and here it is overlapped by the two heads of the gastrocnemius muscle, and it enters the posterior crural region. And it is overlapped by the soleus muscle, fleshy soleus muscle. This is the soleus muscle, and this is overlapping this tibial nerve. In the popliteal fossa, in the upper part, the tibial nerve, it is in the midline, in the upper part of the fossa, the tibial nerve, it lies lateral to the popliteal vessels, and in the middle part of the popliteal fossa, it crosses the popliteal vessels from lateral to the medial side, and in the lower part of the popliteal fossa, this tibial nerve, it lies medial to the popliteal vessels. So in the middle of the popliteal fossa, the popliteal vein, it lies in between the overlying tibial nerve and underlying popliteal artery. Now coming to the branches of the tibial nerve. Tibial nerve, it gives cutaneous, muscular and articular branches and also vascular branches. Now muscular branches. Tibial nerve, it supplies both the medial and lateral heads of gastrocnemius and plantaris, soleus and deeply lying popliteus muscle. So all these nerves are arising from the lateral side of the tibial nerve, except for the branch which is going to medial head of gastrocnemius. Except the nerve to medial head of gastrocnemius, all the other branches, that is to lateral head of gastrocnemius, to plantaris and to popliteus and also to soleus, all of them they arise from the lateral side of the tibial nerve. So the lateral side of tibial nerve, it is in danger than that of the medial side. The branches to lateral head of gastrocnemius and soleus and plantaris, all these pass superficial to the plantaris, whereas the branch to the nerve to the popliteus, which is deeply placed, it crosses the popliteal vessels and it passes deep to the plantaris muscle, and then it reaches the lower border of the popliteal muscle, and then it winds round the lower border of the popliteal muscle to supply the popliteal muscle from its deeper surface, and also it gives a tweak to the tibialis posterior muscle and superior tibiofibular joint, and also a descending branch for the interosseous membrane and the inferior tibiofibular syndesmosis. And it also gives branch, and it also gives a medullary branch to the tibia, which passes through the nutrient foramen of the tibia. And then now coming to the articular branches. Articular branches are superomedial and inferiomedial and middle genicular articular branches. This superomedial and inferiomedial and middle genicular articular branches, they pass along with the respective arteries to supply the region of the knee. The middle genicular artery, it pierces the oblique popliteal ligament along with the middle genicular artery, and it supplies the interior of the knee joint. Now coming to the cutaneous branches. Tibial nerve, it gives a cutaneous branch called as sural nerve, which joins with the sural communicating nerve, a branch of the common peroneal nerve, to supply cutaneous to give cutaneous supply to the back of the leg. Now coming to the articular vascular branches. Vascular branches, they convey fibers from post-ganglionic sympathetic fibers from T10 to L2 segments of the cord to supply the popliteal vessels. Division of this tibial nerve in the popliteal fossa leads to the motor paralysis of the nerve supplied by this motor paralysis of all the muscles supplied by this nerve, gastrocnemius, soleus and plantaris and also popliteus, along with flexor digitorum longus and flexor hallucis longus and all intrinsic muscles of the foot except extensor digitorum brevis. The foot is held in eversion and it is dorsiflexed at the ankle joint, and due to involvement of the intrinsic muscles of the foot, the individual cannot stand on his foot, and sensory loss is seen on the entire sole along with the dorsal surface of the terminal phalanges, and there will be development of trophic ulcers. Now coming to common peroneal nerve, which is also the content of popliteal fossa. This is a smaller terminal branch of the sciatic nerve, and it carries fibers from dorsal branches from ventral rami of L4, L5, S1 and S2. Here this common peroneal nerve, it slopes downward and laterally along the medial border of the biceps tendon, and at the lateral angle of the popliteal fossa, it crosses superficial to the plantaris muscle and lateral head of gastrocnemius, and on reaching the back of the head of the fibula, the nerve rests on the fleshy origin of the fleshy origin of the soleus. So this now it curves forward along the lateral side of the neck of the fibula deep to the peroneus longus and divides into two terminal branches, superficial and deep peroneal nerves. The common peroneal nerve in the popliteal fossa, it gives off two sets of branches. They are articular and cutaneous. The cutaneous branches are two. They are sural communicating nerve and lateral sural nerve. This sural communicating nerve, it communicates with the sural nerve of the tibia, a branch from tibial nerve after crossing the lateral head of the gastrocnemius. The lateral sural nerve, it breaks up into branches, and after piercing the deep fascia, it supplies the skin of the upper part of lateral side of the leg. Articular branches, they are three. They are superolateral, inferolateral and recurrent genicular arteries. These superolateral and inferolateral genicular nerves, they pass along with respective genicular arteries to supply those respective regions. And recurrent genicular artery, it arises at the junction of division of common peroneal into superficial and deep peroneal nerves, and then it supplies the anterior part of the capsule of the knee joint and also superior tibiofibular joint. Injury to common peroneal nerve, it is the most common because of the fracture of the neck of the fibula, or it may get compressed by the pressure from the plaster cast. And when this common peroneal nerve is completely severed, it leads into motor paralysis of all the muscles of the peroneal and extensor compartments of the leg, and including extensor digitorum brevis, and this leads to foot drop because the ankle is fully plantar flexed and also the foot is held in inversion and adduction. And dorsiflexion of lateral 4 digits of lateral middle and terminal phalanges of the lateral 4 digits, it is retained by the contraction of the interosseous and lumbrical muscles. And the sensory loss is observed on the most of the dorsum of the foot and outer surface of the lower third of the front of the leg. Popliteal lymph nodes, they are 6 in number and are arranged into 3 groups. One group is situated at the junction of the saphenous vein and popliteal vein, and it drains the cutaneous lymphatics from the lateral margin of the foot, including little toe, and from the adjacent side of the back of the leg, and these lymphatics, they accompany this small saphenous vein. And the other group is few nodes, they are present in between the popliteal artery and the knee joint, and they receive the lymphatics from the knee joint along the genicular vessels. And the rest of the nodes, they are on the both the sides of the popliteal vessels, and they drain the lymphatics along the anterior and the posterior tibial vessels. And efferents from all these vessels, they accompany the femoral vessels to drain into the deep inguinal lymph nodes. Other important clinical points to mention are blood pressure of the lower limb. It can be recorded from the popliteal artery, and in coarctation of the aorta, the popliteal pressure, it will be lower than that of the brachial pressure. And constant pulsations of this popliteal artery against the unyielding tendon of the adductor magnus, it may bring some vascular changes within the artery, leading to narrowing and occlusion of the artery, and sudden occlusion of this popliteal artery, it may cause gangrene up to the knee, but mostly this is prevented by the collateral circulation which is established by profunda femoris artery. And the popliteal artery, it is fixed to the capsule of the knee joint by a fibrous band, and this is the most common cause of traction or stretching of the artery, which leads to thrombosis in younger subjects. And other important clinically noted thing is this common peroneal nerve. It can get injured easily by blow of a stick on the posterolateral aspect of the neck of the fibula. And since two terminal branches, superficial and deep peroneal arteries, they supply the evertus of the foot and dorsiflexors, these actions are lost and this condition leads to the foot drop. And another important clinical aspect is when there will be the infection of the lateral side of the sole or foot, it leads to the enlargement of the popliteal lymph nodes. So this completes the popliteal fossa dissection. Thank you.